Good evening, and welcome to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alistair Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present Kamen Rider Geats, episode 46, The Road to Redemption. Yes, everyone, the official title of this episode, it was Goodbye Michi, and I have to admit, it's clickbait. It was clickbait because let's face it, guys. Michinaga is supposed to be the secondary rider, the rival to Geats. Why in the hell Yuya would have decided to kill off Michinaga when they're super close to ending their season? It wouldn't make any sense, in my opinion. But maybe Yuya had a special plan to bring back Michinaga in some way or fashion in the last episode, but a lot of fans would have been pissed if Michinaga were to get killed off at this point, in my opinion. And I have to say this, guys. I have to say this. Now that the world is the way it was before emo Keiwa Kaneki decided to make a wish upon a Tsumuri star. Um, where was Monokuma? Remember? Monokuma made an appearance last week. Now that Ace Christ, because he's plainly Jesus at this point, yes, he's the god of creation now, but he is treated like Jesus at this point. When the world was remade back to the way things were, Monokuma was nowhere to be found. Like, he's gone. So he only showed up for one measly episode. Mind you, on social media, we have not seen his flowers, so there's a strong possibility that he is coming back in the last episode. Will he still be all moody, grouchy that humanity is still around? It remains to be seen. However, this episode, who I dubbed as The Road to Redemption, is all about, planting the scenes for redemption. Because you see in the last episode that there were seeds planted in Daichi and this strong possibility that he may have a redemption arc. And we see more seeds being planted between him and the conversation he had with Neon in the waiting lounge. And then you have the proud Michinaga, who has this road to redemption himself after all he has done, during the Jamoto Grand Prix arc, to him destroying people's ID cores, to killing off Keiwa at the tail end of that particular arc. And of course, even though I don't hold it against him because it was an accident, he didn't even know, he accidentally killed off Sara, which caused Keiwa to turn all emo and Keiwa Kaneki, that sort of thing. And I have to say this, emo Keiwa is no more, and he's plain old Keiwa that we all know and love. It's just him turning vengeful and emo was so wasted, in my opinion, which I will discuss it further once I do the character video for the heroes and the villains. But I will say this, the Keiwa turning quote-unquote evil was so wasted. It was rushed, and it's just Yuya, I don't know why he made the decision of making him turn at this stage in the game. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It was, why didn't you just turn him much earlier in the middle of your season and then have him come back in this stage? But it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. This is just stating my opinion. I'm curious of what you guys think about, Keiwa's turning into emo Kaneki and turning back and this stage with the game, and it's just, to me, it's just wasted. It was just wasted, in my opinion. But Michinaga, like I said, he is on the road to redemption, even though he's too proud to say openly that yes, I've done a lot of terrible things. I I want to make amends. But Daichi, like, he Michinaga didn't have to say anything because Daichi, like, pretty much knew from the moment he left that this guy is on a on on a death wish. He's on a death like a death mission, so to speak, because Michinaga, from it looks like he's like, if my death can fix, the situation with Keiwa, and resolve me from my sins, then I'm gladly pay for it for my at the cost of my life. Like, he feels like he is dead man walking. He's a man on a mission, and God only knows if he ever is coming back after his mission is complete. Hence, his final showdown between him and Azu 2.0. And to this day, Azu 2.0, spoiler alert, she gets killed off. Like, she still considers Michinaga as one of her faves after everything, you know. Without further ado, let's start with our tale, shall we? So, after Ace got threatened by Keiwa Kaneki's katana and trying to prove that, hey, show me, make me believe in you, he ends up turning back the world to the way it was before Keiwa made his wish. And Tsumuri wakes up in her room, sees Win in her room, and tells her that Ace has done it. He turned back the world before Keiwa made his wish, and the kidnapping and all that. And she was wondering, like, what happened to Ace and Keiwa. And according to Win, apparently after the world was reverted back to normal, the two boys disappeared. They don't know where they're at until we get into the next scene. Apparently, after Ace did his thing, both boys got transported to what I like to call the halls of creation. I don't remember during the season they actually named the area, but let's call it as the halls of creation, And you see Ace all in white, and Keiwa no longer in black clothes, no longer emo, is wondering what the hell happened, where is he at? And Ace explains that, hey, through my power, I turned back the world to the way things were before you made your wish. And then next thing you know, you see Ace getting quote unquote chained up due to the price, because everything in life comes with a price. Apparently, according to him, after changing the world back to the way things were, he gets chained up, so to speak. And I have to say something, guys. He is now known, I will give him the nickname Ace Christ, because since before and during this episode, Neon at the very end is thanking Ace for, this, what happened in the end. And I'm like, yeah, Yuya has officially turned Ace into Jesus. Because the way, he wrote down, oh, believe in me, need to trust in me, that I will make this world into a perfect utopia where everybody can be happy, and that sort of thing. And Neon is like, oh, thank you, Ace, for making this happen. I'm like, oh my god, are you serious? And if you have further doubts, take a look at the scene here when he gets chained up. He's not in quote unquote chains, but it looks like he's wrapped in rope with thorns all over him. And doesn't it reference to you of Jesus Christ himself with the crown of thorns? That's the only thing Ace was missing at this during this scene. Like, where is this crown of thorns at? Because you see him, like, quote unquote chained up with this weird rope with thorns, and I'm like, the only thing missing is the crown of thorns. I don't understand why they couldn't use chains, or maybe this fake chain, this fake what's it called? I can't like the thing like they use for wrestling in hardcore matches. The not the chainmail, but the I forgot what it's called, but it was fake, and they could use it for hardcore matches. It wasn't real, like these weird wires thing with the cuts, whatever. But maybe later on I will try to rethink of the name, but they could have just used that instead. But yeah, they decided to use rope and fake thorns. Anyways, so he gets chained up, and then we go to the beginning of the episode after the opening credits. Neon tells Michinaga that the game writers are no more, they're gone, and Michinaga said, so Ace did it, he changed the world. And then we get to this cutscene where the VIPs Jitto has invited over is super pissed. Like, where the hell is my end game at? What's going on? And to sum it up, Jitto said, don't worry, relax, you will get your games, don't worry about it. And of course, during that, you have Azu 2.0 and Kermit the Frog, surprise of what just happened. Apparently, Ace instantly absorbed Tsumuri's goddess of creation powers into himself. And yeah, they're pretty much surprised of the result that happened. And Jitto assures them, regardless of what just happened, everything is according to the master plan. The mission has not changed or derailed. All speed ahead. And he uses the stone of tear that he captured in last week's episode. And I told you guys that stone, it's very important that he's going to use it, and he does use it. And he used the tear to create Tsumuri 2. Only this Tsumuri, she's dubbed the goddess of destruction. She is all in black, and she pretty much follows Jitto's orders. And then after he does that, he announces to the world, mostly in Tokyo, that hey, he announces to the world that hey, the bad games are about to begin, and just be prepared because I'm gonna unleash hell on you guys. And then back to the halls of creation, Ace tells Keiwa that Jitto has finally made his move. He's gonna destroy all humanity, and it's our job to stop him. And of course, Keiwa is still like, I don't know about this. Even though he's back to his old usual self, he still is like not processing that's what's going on. And then we go back to Daichi the roach. The Tree of Knowledge has returned, and Daichi is greeted by none other than Azu 2.0 and Kermit the Frog. And the reason why, most specifically Azu 2.0 is after the Tree of Knowledge because she wants to use it to destroy the world. How, you may ask? She's going to turn it into a Jamoto tree. She's going to use the Jamoto tree to create newer and stronger Jamotos to terrorize the world. And of course, you would assume that those two would want Daichi back because they used to work together, especially with her and Daichi during the JGP arc. But she said to his face that you're no longer of use. You did your part. Now you're out. We're here to kill you. And so through the magic of pushing Daichi away, he gets automatically teleported to this mountain area that the majority of Sentai and Kamen Rider and perhaps even Ultraman use all the time. And they transform into their premium forms, and they shoot Daichi, which it looked like to be the end of Daichi. Because remember, if Daichi dies, the secret of rescuing the victims from that tree dies along with him. Luckily, Neon and Michinaga, shielded the attack, and they went after both of them. And Azu 2.0 and Kermit the Frog has decided, you know what, you can have them. That's fine. We're going to retreat. Goodbye. And then we move on to the waiting lounge. And Daichi asks, why in the hell did you save me? And Michinaga, always the bull, always the buffalo, just goes on straight to the point. It's like, you're only secondary. Like yes, we saved you, but the main reason why we saved you is because you hold the key of, releasing Sara and the other victims from that tree of yours. So that's the main reason why we saved your ass. Otherwise, they would have saved Daichi because they're heroes at this point, regardless how Daichi has treated them over the past few months. All the bad things that he has caused, whether he's still a Jamoto or not, he's still a living being and deserves to be saved from those two creeps. So Michinaga points out the reason that we both saved you is because you're the only one for the you're the only one with the cure, so that's why. And Daichi tells the writers that Azu 2.0 and Kermit the Frog are after the tree. And she plans to use the tree to create, her Super Jamotos and the World Tree, that sort of thing. And so we cut into the scene where Azu 2.0 and Kermit the Frog sees the tree, meets up with Tsumuri 2, and they both hold hands to make Azu 2.0's wish come true. Mind you, this was happening at the same time as Daichi, Michinaga, and Neon were all three of them were having this conversation. Then, back at the waiting lounge, Michinaga, wants to deal with both Kermit the Frog and especially Azu 2.0. And Neon wants to help him, but Michinaga says, no, this is my business. I have to deal with this on my own. If you want to help, I suggest you stay here and watch over Daichi, because you never know with this kid. You never know. And he leaves. And Daichi just sees it clear as day, as I mentioned earlier, that Daichi said that Michinaga has a death wish here. He's a man. He is willing to die you can tell by his the look on his face that he is not expecting to come back, and he finds him to be pitiful, you know. And Neon says, I don't believe he's pitiful. He's doing everything he can to, make people happy, that sort of thing. That's what she says. Um, which, it's, that's pretty much what he says, both him and Neon. But here's the thing, too. By the end of this scene, after Neon says, like, he's doing everything he can to make Ace's ideal world into reality, that's when Daichi, again, more seeds are planting that, really? Like, you can tell that Daichi is I think he wants to change. You can tell by the look on his face that he wants to change, but it's just it's not easy for him because he's used to backstabbing people. He's done a lot of bad things, but even he was intrigued and interested about Ace's utopia. But at the end of that scene, you can tell that more seeds are planting, and Yuya is trying to change Daichi into hopefully, being redeemed and maybe become a Kamen Rider again, or maybe live out his rest of his days, living normally, whatever. But as of right now, more seeds are planted for Daichi's eventual turn to the light side. So we move back to the halls of creation. Ace tells Keiwa that everybody is giving their all to save Sara, especially Michinaga, and he's worried about him because he is Jesus Christ, Ace Christ. He's the God of creation. He knows what's going on with Michinaga. He knows that he wants to die in order to make amends for the things that he's done, and he is very concerned about him, and tells Keiwa this, that he's putting his life on the line for this. And he ends it with this, which more seeds are planted in Keiwa after, the seeds of forgiveness. He says, and I quote, even if we hate the sins people commit, we must never come to hate the people themselves. So what does that tell you? Why is Ace telling Keiwa this? I think Ace wants Keiwa to forgive Michinaga, and he wants him to forgive Daichi. Because in the next episode, which unfortunately we're not gonna be able to watch because Geats is having a break, there's pictures going around online. You see Keiwa and Daichi somewhere, and you could tell they're like talking to each other, civilized. And maybe in that scene, maybe Keiwa uttered the words, you've done a lot of bad things. I done a lot of bad things too in the name of revenge, and I came really close to remaking the world again just to bring back my family back. But I forgive you, Daichi. So do you think Ace planted those scenes for Keiwa to forgive both boys? I think so. Why else will he say, yes, we hate people committing sins, but we must never come to hate the people themselves. So anyway, I think Ace is giving Keiwa the gift of forgiveness. Now we move on to this scene where evil Tsumuri is doing her thing with the tree. Azu 2.0, Kermit the Frog encounters Michinaga. and they have their final talking point before their final showdown. And instead of Azu 2.0 turning to her previous form, she decides to pull out the big guns and decides, I will defeat you using my Zord form. Let's face it, when she forms into a Zord, she's not officially a Kamen Rider. Jean is officially a Kamen Rider because it's Kamen Rider Jean. He doesn't transform into a Zord unlike the other three. I don't consider her as a Kamen Rider because she doesn't transform into one. She transforms into a Zord, and her other form turns her into a monster. So that's a debate worth discussing, I guess. But I'm not going to change my mind on that. When you have a matchup between a Zord versus a regular Kamen Rider, you can already tell who's going to get the most beat up at this point. You can tell. And during the conversation and the fight, again, Azu 2.0 is really throwing shade at Michinaga. Like, you're trying to atone for your past sins, and it doesn't look right for you. You look better as an anti-hero or a villain like me. And, of course, Michinaga is, being all, like, trash-talking at Azu 2.0 about her age. I find it funny because Michinaga does a lot of trash talking, and it really got to Azu 2.0 in regards to her age. So continuing on, so after the beatdown, both by mouth and physically, they both unleashed their final attack, and they both collided, and it looked like Azu 2.0 was about to get the victory, but then Michinaga, he uses this one last trump card, a trump card that he saved for this special occasion, because what it looked like to be Azu 2.0 finally getting the V over Michinaga and killing him, Michinaga used a last bit of his old power, his fever zombie power. Remember that power that granted him the ability to pretty much defeat every Kamen Rider he sees? He uses that small portion of that power and destroys her. And you see her falling to the ground. Michinaga jumps onto the ground safely, and Azu 2.0, after everything that was said and done, she still considers Michinaga as her favorite, and that someday she will join him in the same grave. And she disappears. And then Michinaga has the final word, and he says, and I quote, "Go wallow in despair on your own, and if it excites you so much." So it's just like, screw you, lady. Wallow in your own despair, and just goodbye. And Michinaga survives. He's exhausted, and his victory was short because you have Tsumuri 2 and Kermit the Frog, just walking towards Michinaga, and Kermit the Frog, before that, Azu 2.0 mentioned now that Tsumuri 2 mentioned that now that Azu 2.0 has been killed, her wish of turning the tree to a Jamoto tree, whatever, is none and void, so he got canceled out. So not only by her death, Michinaga saves the Tree of Knowledge from being corrupted and all that. And then we lead to Kermit the Frog about to kill off Michinaga. And then at the nick of time, you see Keiwa to the rescue, just jumping in and pushing him out of the way. It just looks awkward on TV in my opinion, but either way, he pushes Kermit the Frog out of the way. He goes to attend Michinaga, who is on the ground, still weak from his last battle, and he was surprised to actually see Keiwa as to why are you saving me after everything that I did to you. And he openly says, I'm sorry for what I did to your sister, which again, in my opinion, it wasn't his fault. He didn't know, but he bears the responsibility of doing so anyways, knowing that it wasn't his fault. It was an accident, and it was his burden to bear, and he was willing to sacrifice his own life in order to rectify what he did and also his past crimes, so to speak. And Keiwa openly said, thank you for what you're doing to save my sister. And I'm sorry too for the things that I have done, nearly killing you those 2 times and not listening to you. In a way, I feel that Keiwa has forgave Michinaga after he uttered the words, I'm sorry myself, In my opinion, that's the way I got it. I got the scene from. So they both make amends, and you see Kermit the Frog in the back is like, what the hell? Like, where is my Keiwa? Where is Keiwa Kaneki? The emo Kamen Rider that it's my fave and all that. And Keiwa, with that disgust look on his face, is like, I no longer listening to you. I'm done being manipulated by you. It's over. It's done. And it looked like from Kermit's point of view, it's like, you're biting the hand that fed you. I was the one who led you to ultimate power. I gave you this final form. I gave you this world. Like, how dare you talk back to me? He took it in that way, but at the end, he didn't fight Keiwa. He just announces to Keiwa that I have a special end game for you. You just have to, wait and see what I have in store for you after you bit my hand, after everything I done for you. And he ends up leaving. So we get to the final scene. We get back to the Tree of Knowledge. Daichi is there. You see Michinaga still banged up. You have Neon there, and of course you have Keiwa seeing the tree for the first time and seeing his sister and the other victims trapped in this tree. And Michinaga mentions, okay, we had a deal. Now it's your turn. And Daichi, a little bit reluctant, but he ends up taking the serum out of his bag. Tells everybody that if you use this water, it will revert the effects of the tree, whatever. And Keiwa just immediately just snatches it away from him and just immediately pours it on Sara's wooden face, and she gets released from the tree. Mind you, Sara is saved, but the other victims are still trapped on the tree. So it's only for her, which sucks for the other victims. I'm sure the other victims witnessing this is like, hey, what about us? We're still trapped in this tree. They will be saved, but you're not special, guys. Sara is the special one. We're going to save her first. So she gets saved, and she is, you could say, out of it. She's in pain because Keiwa was hugging her so tightly, and you see Michinaga and Neon smiling in the background, and this is where Neon says, "Oh, thank you, Ace." Not in those words, but it's like she says, I think I wrote it on my notes, that once again, Ace, you granted someone's happiness again. I'm like, to me, I don't know what you guys think, but in my opinion, it was cringe. it was so cringe because again, these people are viewing Ace as Jesus Christ. Like, thank you because you made it happen while Ace was still chained up. He didn't really do anything. He just got chained up with fake, thorns and in the with the rope. I know. And Ace looks on like he knows, like, yeah. And then the last scene, he looks at his one of his arms, and one of his hands immediately turns to stone. So the effects are happening, guys, that he is slowly but surely turning to stone. And that's the end of the episode, guys. I mean, this episode was all about forgiveness and redemption. Because you have Michinaga, who doesn't want to admit that I need to atone for my sins. And he just silently hey, I need to deal with Azu 2.0 because I have unfinished business with her. She is a mess that I needed to clean up. And, I've done a lot of horrible things during the Jamoto Grand Prix times, to me being the god of creation at that point and crushing people's ID cores, to killing Keiwa in that Heaven and Hell game, if you remember, and also accidentally killing his sister, which caused Keiwa to go all emo and all that mess. So he felt responsible for all of this, and he was willing to die. But luckily, Keiwa came into the rescue, thanked him, and also forgiving him, and just says, I'm sorry for my part too, for nearly killing you, and I'm sorry that I didn't listen to you, because again, when you're in that level of pain, everything gets shut down and you just want to lash out. It doesn't excuse for what the things that he has done, but at least both boys forgave each other, and they were able to save Sara, and that's it. And then with Daichi, again, you can tell that more seeds of redemption are being planted, and it looks like in the next episode, which is not going to be next week, but probably the week after, you see maybe a strong possibility that Keiwa may forgive Daichi, which will be the ultimate, like, final nail on the eventual coffin of turning Daichi to the light side, and help the riders along the way. Because again, Ace says that, look, we can hate the people doing bad things to other people, well, at the same time, we can't spread hate on those people because of it. So again, I believe Ace is trying to tell Keiwa that you need to forgive the people that harmed you. More specifically, Michinaga, and of course, Daichi. So is Keiwa willing to forgive Daichi? I believe so. But we'll find out in 2 weeks, I guess, Jitto, he's still, he's preparing for his final showdown with Ace. You have Azu 2.0. Okay. I will say this briefly because I want to save the conversation during my villain video. But Azu 2.0, I wish they would have given her more, but at the same time, you could say she is the perfect villain, because all she wanted was to cause despair and just feeds her bloodlust and all that stuff. She's crazy, and after everything that's happened, like I said before, she views Michinaga as her personal favorite. And yeah, and her obsession with him and more so on Neon. I mean, my God. I mean, she's not a perfect villain, but a villain nonetheless. And she went off with a bang, and we didn't see her flowers on social media, even though she got killed off. So there's a strong possibility that she will return in the final episode, some way, shape, or form. You know, unless I see on Facebook her with her flowers, I don't think it will be this soon. Especially when how many episodes there are left? 7, 8, 9, 3 episodes left. Yeah, so she's gonna be back in the final episode. That's for sure. Um, Other than that, I believe that is it. What do you guys think of episode 46? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Do you like the idea of Ace becoming, head quotes, Jesus Christ? Do you like Michinaga's redemption story? Um, are you starting to feel that Daichi is also trying to get in his redemption arc? And do you like how Keiwa was able to forgive Michinaga even though it was an accident for what he did to Sara? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I'm curious. Super curious. So like I said earlier, there's not gonna be Kamen Rider Geats this coming Sunday, so it's gonna be a week off for me. Until maybe the week after. I'm not so sure if there's gonna be a Kamen Rider episode the week after, so we have to wait and see on that. But we're close to the end, guys. I don't want to see it go, and who knows? Gut Shard could be as perfect as Geats, but I don't know. I don't know, guys. It's gonna be very sad and a tough transition from one season to another. So enough rambling on my part. Please give a like if you like it. Please subscribe. Please let me know if I miss anything, even though I have my notes in front of me. Tell me everything in the comments below, what you dislike, what you did like, and what I missed. I'm curious. Also, Win is still alive after the beatdown from Jitto. Anyways, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you all on the other side of Oblivion. Johnny!